Hey, I'm Aaron Gemmel, and welcome to this is season 7, the final season installment of the Hot Seat Sports Talk. We have Matt. Oh my God, what the hell? Okay. Hey, I'm Aaron Gemmel, and welcome to this season 7 installment of the Hot Seat Sports Talk, the final season. And we have another Spartan with us today. He's a current fifth year tackle for Michigan State. His name is Matt Carrick. So let's get this show going. First off, welcome to the show, Matt, and thank you for being here. So to start off, where are you from, and did you play any other sports in high school besides football?
So I'm from Perry Township, Ohio. It's right beside Canton, and I actually wrestled in high school. I did track and I played basketball for a year for the fun of it.
Wow, okay. So when did you start receiving offers for college, and what other schools did you visit, and what made you ultimately choose East Lansing and Michigan State?
So originally, I was offered my sophomore year by Ohio U and Miami of Ohio, and then shortly after that, um, I got an offer from Michigan State. Um, I want to say it was right after my junior year. Had an offer from Iowa State, Colorado State, whole bunch of smaller schools until Michigan State was actually my first Big Ten offer. There's other schools that were interested, but as soon as Michigan State offered me, I committed really fast. So, and the main reason for that was because I liked what Michigan State had to offer. Like they just came off of the playoff season. Mark Dantonio made a conscious effort to make sure that he got to know my parents and everything else, and they really made me comfortable here when I came and visited the few times that I did. Um,
Okay, yeah, that's very cool. Yeah, I was about to say I know my Ohio and Miami, Ohio really well going to Central because we play those schools quite often for in a lot of sports. So Matt, when you arrived at Michigan State 2017, the team had great talent already: Byron Bola, Brian Lewerke, L.J. Scott, etc. And the team was coming off a down 3-9 season. So what was Coach D's mindset going into that season? And was he hoping to have a turnaround and equivalent to like the 2015 Cotton Bowl year?
um I'm not really sure to tell you the truth. The big thing was for Coach D was to flip the script. He didn't want that to happen again. And everything as far as when I got there, like I only got there for fall camp. Like I didn't get to experience what spring ball was like and everything else was for those guys. So I can't really speak on it. Um, but you could tell that like he really wanted things to turn around, especially after that 2016 season. So
Yeah, because Spartan Nation was for a while used to, Rose Bowl, Cotton Bowls, Big Ten championships year after year, and just having that 2016 year kind of threw Spartan Nation off a little bit. So now, what were your thoughts walking in and seeing Spartan Stadium for the first time on game days? You hosted yet another MAC opponent, Bowling Green.
um I would say like it was a cool experience, but the coolest experience that I had coming into Spartan Stadium was because my freshman year I didn't even really get I didn't get to wear the uniform at all. I actually tore my ACL, so I didn't get to really experience the full like effect of what it's like to be like an actual Michigan State Spartan. But I would say that the coolest as far as experience coming into a Spartan Stadium, like it's cool like when you have all the gear on, you come in, you see all the people, but the really cool experience that you get to have as a player is when you get to play like your first starting snaps. 'cause I remember, when I was playing against Tulsa, is the first time I ever started, and coming out, like, that first drive, we went right down and scored. Like, I couldn't tell you one play we ran or, like, what happened that drive because everything just happened so fast. And, like, it's like you couldn't hear anything. It was like is one of the coolest experiences I've ever had.
Yeah, just a big blur, just the energy that Michigan State brings. It's it's not like any other Big Ten school. Each Big Ten school has their own, but Michigan State is very, very unique. And now in that season, you guys would start win 3 out of 4 before you guys head to the Big House. Now, tell me, what was it like for you seeing the Big House, your rivals in Michigan, on a rivalry game day?
Um, that was uh that was a really cool experience. It was a cool experience. We had high hopes for that game. But obviously it didn't go our way. Um, like it's cool like once you go into like those stadiums and you see all these people like especially when you're getting booed coming out, it's just like okay, like let's go. I mean, even like going to like Penn State or Nebraska, like
Yeah.
those places too, like those are just as special as going to the big house. So
Yeah, those are Happy Valley's huge. Nebraska's big. I know Iowa for a fact is really big as well. Obviously Ohio State and Columbus is really big. So now that year you guys have a great season in 2017. You go on to the Holiday Bowl against Ohio or Washington State, excuse me. What did you guys do for that week prior to that bowl game, and take me through that bowl game atmosphere?
really for the 2017 year, like I wasn't like really part of that, so it didn't I was just doing rehab that whole year, like so that didn't like it wasn't really that big of a thing for me. So like
Okay.
all I was doing was I was doing physical therapy in the training room, trying to get my knee better. So
Okay. Real quick. All right. Yeah, there you go. I think the light went out for a second. Kind of going dark.
is that better?
There you go. All right. So now in 2018, you guys have another winning season, being bowl eligible, including having another one of those wins over my Central Michigan Chippewas at home, which I was there to watch, rooting for Michigan State before I committed to Central for school. You guys had some tough losses against Arizona State and Nebraska, but made the Red Box Bowl against Oregon, ultimately losing 7-6. Tell me, what was it like for you making that transition from coming, recovering from that injury as a redshirt to seeing the field that season? What was that off season like for you?
It was just really difficult. Like coming off an ACL injury, like you basically have to reteach your leg how to work, how to step, because it seems like it's like not your leg anymore, especially after having that big of an injury to it. Um, that season, I actually only saw like 40 snaps. Um, and those snaps like really like prepared me a lot for the next season after that. Uh, it just helped me like have a better understanding of what the game of college football is all about.
Yeah, absolutely. Like it's definitely a difficult recovery. We see it in football all the time with guys in their ACLs and MCLs and all that stuff, and it's just a brutal recovery, and it's a long recovery at that. So first, I'm glad your health, glad you recovered really well and stuff like that. So going into 2019, go a little bit recent memory here. It was a bit of a roller coaster. You guys went 4 out of your first 5, lose 5 straight, and then win 2 to close out the year. So you coming off the losing skid against Michigan and playing against Maryland, going into Maryland at home. What was the attitude, if you remember, like at that practice as you guys were prepping for Maryland, trying to make that turnaround so you could be bowl eligible?
The biggest thing for that was to like Coach D talked about it. It was a big program win to be able to continue to go to a bowl game, stuff like that. Like a lot of things during that season didn't happen our way. Like a lot of those games, like we
Close.
wish we could have changed. You know what I mean. But that was a big game just to say like we can still do it. Like there's no reason why we shouldn't be able to go to a bowl game. You know what I mean?
Absolutely. Absolutely. So now you guys would post same record you used before, 6-6, earn a spot in the New Era Pinstripe Bowl in New York City at Yankee Stadium. Tell me what that week was like prepping for Wake Forest on the practice field, and what did you guys do for fun in NYC for that week?
Um, I mean, practice was really just the same. There wasn't much different about it. The biggest thing was is that we wanted to go 7-6 because 7-6 sounds a lot better than 6-7.
Absolutely.
Uh, I mean, it was just business as usual. But during the trip, like when we were out to York, we did went to a comedy show that was a lot of fun. Um, we ended up going to go see the 9/11 memorial, which that was really cool. Like I highly recommend going and seeing that. And then what else we do? Those were the two big things I remember, but those were like very enjoyable for the trip. And it was just like really cool playing inside. Like I never thought I would play in Yankee Stadium. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah, you brought me into that next one. So, in that atmosphere, playing a football game at Yankee Stadium, tell me what your mindset was. Playing a football game on a baseball field, the legendary Yankee Stadium. Have you ever seen anything like that prior to that?
Um, I mean, I've been in a lot of places that are really big stadiums, but like as far as it being Yankee Stadium, like I was never good at baseball. Like I never thought I would play in Yankee Stadium. You know what I mean? And then like also like when we got there, I actually got someone to let me in to see what's that? Do you know what that back part of like where the outfield is, where like all the Hall of Fame murals are, and they have like different popes and everything up in there?
Yeah, I have an idea what you're talking about. I'm not a Yankees fan. But yeah, I know what you're talking about. Yeah, but it's kind of like Comerica Park in Detroit. They have a whole row of like Hall of Famers and stuff like that, of busts and bronze statues and stuff like that. So I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, so I got to see like Mickey Mantle's like
Hmm.
mural, Babe Ruth, like it was really cool. So
Yeah, I mean, there's obviously a lot of Yankee legends in there. Probably way more than the Tigers have. So you played a huge role for that offensive line and helped secure the win against Wake Forest. It was also ultimately Coach D's last game. Now, did you guys know beforehand that it was going to be his last, or did you guys have no clue whether he was going to come back or not?
honestly, we had no idea what was going to happen. There was never anything that was said to us about it, and it was like it seemed like it was just going to be business as usual when we got back. So
Did it come as a surprise to you when the news broke that Coach D was retiring?
I mean, it was a surprise to me, but at the same time, uh, like I don't blame him for doing what he did.
Mm, yeah,
Like for like what he got out of that and everything else. Like if I was in his position, I would do the same thing. So
absolutely. So now, Matt, this is one of our favorite segments that we do with every single one of our guests. It's called Rapid Fire Seven, just seven quick questions, get to know you better. So, what's your favorite holiday?
Christmas,
All right, favorite place you've traveled to as an opponent for football? Favorite
uh,
college town?
I would say Penn State.
Pat Happy Valley. Okay, what's the strangest thing you've ever eaten?
Oh, um, I've eaten a grasshopper before, just like a live
Oh,
grasshopper. Yeah, that was fun.
ooh, okay. What What TV sitcom family would you be a member of?
Um, have you ever seen The Ranch?
Yes.
Yeah, I would be a part of that.
Okay. What is one item you can never live without?
Uh, one item I can never live without. I would say let's go with a fishing pole.
A fishing pole. Okay. What is your favorite music artist and song by that artist?
I'll go with let's see here. I like a lot of different stuff. So I like country, I like rock, I like everything. But the number one thing I would go with would be Tyler Childers and any song by him really. You could do Feathered Indians or Notes to the Grindstone. There's a whole bunch of them. So
Okay. And finally, because my co-host he couldn't be here tonight. He is a student at Michigan State. He wanted me to ask this question. What is your because he's a student at State? What is your favorite place to eat at Michigan State?
that's a tough one. So if I'm going to go get a burger, I like to go to Dagwoods. That's a
Okay.
really good place. As far as barbecue place, a place called Meat in Old Town. That's really good. And as far as downtown East Lansing, I'd have to go with Hopcat.
Hopcat. Okay, yeah, Hopcat's really, really good. So now heading into last season, 2020 season, pandemic taking over, new head coach and Mel Tucker and a new staff. First off, what were your thoughts on your new head coach when you first heard the hiring of him, of Coach Tucker, and what were your thoughts when you actually met him in person?
To be honest, with Coach Tucker, when they first announced it, I had no idea who he was. Uh, but once I met him in person, talked to him, like was around him during meetings, everything else, like he's a great head coach, and he's all about the players, which I absolutely love. And like I remember he would have talks about us, like with us. I remember I had like a Zoom talk with him. It was the first time I ever talked to him, and he asked like, "What are some things in the program that like you feel that need to be changed?" And then like I would tell him, and then he'd be like, "Oh yeah, like I could see that." Like different stuff like that. He's very like wants players' input, but he's also going to tell you what he thinks too.
It's interesting. That's interesting to hear because you hear most coaches, especially in college, they come in whether from another school or you know getting promoted or come from the NFL, and they just take over a program and make it their own. They just go by their rules and stuff like that. But for Coach Tucker to come in and get your guys' input, the players' input, and how the what's like you said changes and stuff like that. That's awesome to hear. And just hearing that, I know Michigan State's definitely heading in the right direction. So now before the season, take me through a practice day with pandemic in full swing. How often were you guys tested? What was the mask wearing mandate like for you guys, like in practice in and out? Could you hang out with your teammates, and how did classes go?
So like with the math stuff, like it was like pretty miserable. Like so like the start of the day, you'd have to go into the Smith Center, which is where you do all your academics as an athlete. You'd have to go in, you'd have to do a nose swab. Then you have to put your mask back on. You have to wait for 20 minutes. Then you have to go get ready for practice. You have to go to meetings, wear a mask. But originally, when we started with the whole mask thing, we couldn't even go into our own locker room. So we had
Hmm.
like curtains set up on the field for different position groups to where you can change, and then you have to go out on the field.
Wow.
So
Okay. Yeah,
so
that's definitely interesting. Huh.
yeah, and then you couldn't like they had showers separated, so like some guys would go shower at the stadium, some guys would be able to shower in the locker room, but most guys were just going home and showering because it was just too like big of a hassle to get all that stuff done.
Don't blame the guys going home and doing that, especially with all that, just absolutely it was absolutely nuts. That to see.
Yeah,
It's just stuff that we don't for us media, we don't even get to see and hear about sometimes. So with the
yeah.
season being cut down in only Big Ten games only, you guys would be 2-5 against with 2-5 with games against Maryland that was canceled twice. And with the win at the big house over a ranked Michigan team, and then at home versus a number 8 Northwestern team. So so you say you talked about earlier your beginning atmospheres at Spartan Stadium in the big house, but take me through the atmospheres was like playing with no or limited crowds.
Um, I would say like a lot of games felt like like it still felt like a game, but it wasn't like this. It wasn't the same at all. Like some of the games felt like they were just like scrimmages because there's just like no one in there, and it's like really strange because you can hear everything. Can hear your coaches yelling at you. You can hear someone clapping. Like you can hear literally everything going on in the stadium. But like as far as like different places, um, like when we went to Penn State, like they still had the speakers full blast, so you couldn't hear, which was really weird. But then
Hmm.
like when we went to Iowa, Iowa was dead silent. Like there was like never any music. Like it was just like a very like dry game. So
Did that throw you off as you know being an offensive tackle? Did that throw you off in like warming up and stuff like that? It being completely silent.
like during warm-ups they had music playing and everything, but like when you go to like play at those like big stadiums, like you expect to like hear something, and like going there is just like really weird, like how like silent it was, like especially like when you expect to go to these places and like see all these fans going crazy and everything else. So
Yeah, instead of seeing all college students and fans and everything else, it was just a typically a bunch of cardboard cutouts uh,
yeah.
that year. So now transitioning from the crazy and the madness that was that COVID season um, in the Big Ten into this season into off season and camp now. How has the restrictions been lifted in the program? Do
um the
you
good
guys
thing,
go by what the state said, what the state of Michigan says, or does the program have their own conduct when it comes to that?
what does the state of Michigan say, you know?
That uh, as of uh, as of June 22nd, um, mass mandate or basically every mandate in the state has been lifted.
Okay, I gotcha. um yeah, I mean we've just been going by what the state's been saying the whole time. So
Okay.
but the nice thing about it too is that like most of the teams vaccinated, so you don't really have to worry about it. I mean, most of the teams gotten COVID already too. So
Okay. Now, does the program make it mandatory for all players to be vaccinated? Because or like if you don't get vaccinated, you don't play.
no, that's not the case. It's just it's still player preference, like what the player wants to do. There's just more stuff that if you don't get vaccinated, you have to get tested every day, opposed to if you are vaccinated, you only have to get tested once a week now.
Okay, so it's just a matter of getting tested. Okay. So
Yeah,
now,
getting tested and like wearing a mask too. So if you're not
hmm,
vaccinated, they require you to put a mask on. So
okay. So now in the media, the headline is basically for the Spartans heading into this season is the quarterback battle that's going on in camp. So now with you obviously being an offensive tackle, practicing with both guys, how intense has it been behind closed doors for that QB1 spot that the media doesn't have access to?
it's been a good competition. I honestly can't tell you who I think will be
Oh,
QB1, but I mean they get along well with each other. We'll see what happens. I like both of them a lot. They're both great guys.
that's
Um,
great to hear.
they both seem to do a really good job, and they're really adamant about getting all the calls right, seeing all the defenses, being able to ID different things. So they're both doing great jobs. So as far as like them like competing behind closed doors, I mean it is a competition at the end of the day,
Yep.
but both I have no idea how that's going to work out though. Like
Yeah. I mean, it's
both
definitely
like
all up to
good
coaching.
quarterbacks. Yeah.
It's
So
definitely all up to Coach Tucker, the quarterbacks coach, the offensive coordinator, and everyone that goes into that decision. But I know that it'll be the right decision come kickoff for you guys in the beginning of the year when you guys head down to Northwestern. Um, and with that, you guys have an very interesting schedule to this year, unlike years past. Besides the COVID season, You guys go down to Northwestern for the beginning of the year. You have Youngstown State at home, then at Miami, Florida, at home against Nebraska, and then at home against Western Kentucky at home, all in the first 5 weeks before the Big Ten conference play actually takes over. So how confident are you in this team to start off against this different type of a schedule this year? And how confident that the Spartan team will definitely flip that script like you were talking about earlier to win about 9, 10 games to get back to Spartan glory this year?
Um, I honestly don't know that answer yet. The biggest thing right now for us is coming together as a team because there's just so many different new guys that have came in. Like there's a lot of guys. Like I remember, like when we were talking about 2017 before. Like I remember being in the locker room and being able to like talk to any guy in the locker room, like no matter what. Like now it's just like a matter of just getting to know each other. I mean, um, like once we go through fall camp, then I'll have a better understanding of like what this team will be. But like going forward, like I would love to say that we'd win all five of those games, but I can't say that. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely, yeah, because you never know, because you never know. It's
Yeah.
one of those.
There's just too many unknowns right now. But I will say, like with the coaching staff right now, I will promise you that those guys are going to be able to get a lot of games won. Like if it's not this year, it's going to be like plenty of years after that because like the staff that they've came up with, like all those coaches are like great coaches. Like they're doing their job to the max right now.
That's fantastic. That's fantastic to hear that the new coaching staff, because it was kind of a hard, Coach Tucker was thrown into kind of a difficult spot. One taking over for the great Mark Dantonio, who set a huge precedent of what winning culture at Michigan State was, and then you throw the pandemic on top of that and trying to manage that along with the new staff and his new team, his new program. So I have confidence that Michigan State will definitely turn things around. I really hope that you guys will turn things around this year. Um, and get back to that winning way, because I really miss seeing the Spartans, on those New Year's Six bowls, like at the Cotton Bowl and Orange Bowl or Fiesta
Yeah.
Bowl and stuff like that. And this is your final season, if I'm correct.
And actually, so with COVID, I'll actually have an additional year. If I
Okay.
just say another year, but this will be considered my fifth year. So
So you'll have 2 years left. I know it seems like a lifetime away, but do you have aspirations of playing at the next level once your days as a Spartan are over?
that has been my biggest goal since I was in kindergarten. Like I still remember coming into college like not being able to like decide what degree like I want to pick out because it's like oh like all I've thought about my whole life is becoming like a guy that can play in the NFL. So like yeah, that's like has been my biggest goal for like the longest time. So
Absolutely, absolutely, and I'm hoping that your dream will come true in 2 years' time, or a year or two in time, and that you uh, stay healthy and have a fantastic season. Because that's all I have for you, Matt. Thank you so much for joining. Michigan State opens their season September 3rd at 9 o'clock on the road at Northwestern, and their home openers is September 11th at noon against Youngstown State. Matt, thank you so much for joining the show today. Really appreciate it.
thank you. Appreciate you having me.
Absolutely no problem. Have a great and healthy season, and I for sure will definitely be watching you this season.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
No problem.
Hey, have a good one though.
Thanks. You too. Man, what a great show. Just hearing about what the difference, uh, because we've talked to Spartans in the past of Benny Fowler, Kyler Ellsworth, B.J. Cunningham, all those different guys, but and stuff like that. But we never got to hear what more recent Spartans, like in the struggling seasons of the 3-9s and not making the bowl game, especially bowl games in the Mel Tucker era coming in. So along with the COVID season of how wacky that was as well. So, and that will do it for this installment of the Hot Seat Sports Talk. Make sure you subscribe, hit that bell icon, share it with as many people as you can, because we are, we're running out of shows. We're getting there, but it's a long process. So make sure, again, subscribe, hit that bell icon. You like it, follow us on Instagram at underscore hot seat underscore sports talk, and then at on Facebook at Eric Gemmel THSST, and also on Twitter as well. So, and that will do it again for this installment. I want to thank our guest Matt Carrick for joining the show, and we will see you in the next installment. Until then, as always, keep it fresh.